You guys always get to ask me questions. I brought Ann up here in case you want to ask her a question. And hopefully people will stop looking over here and they'll look over there. Can you hear me okay wherever you are? Yeah, good enough. I enjoyed our chance to speak this evening. I thought it was an appropriate debate, meaning that there were no brickbats, there was no anger. We're friends. Jenny Wilson and I, we have different views politically. And our philosophies are different about government and the role of government. But I think those things came out through the debate, so I think it was instructive and helpful for people. And I'm pleased with the chance to have had that exchange tonight. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have and go from there.
No questions? That was a very short. Governor, you were asked about your comments regarding the president in 2016. I'm not sure we got the direct answer. Do you still consider the president?
I'm not going to. I'm talking about going forward. I look forward. I don't go back and sort of rehearse things in the past. So
going forward, if you are elected to this office, you're still going to have to deal with it.
Oh, I deal with the president from time to time. As you know, he endorsed me in the primary. We've spoken together on the phone. He said, are we good together? And I said, yep, we sure are. But I've also made it very clear, and you saw that in the op-ed that I wrote before the primary, that I'll be with the president when I think he's right for the country and for the state. If and when he ever says or does something I think is divisive or misogynistic or anti-immigrant or racist, I'll call him out on that. And I would hope that will never happen. But that's just something which obviously you would expect of me as someone who attempts to call him like he sees him. Oh, I am not a tariff guy. I don't support broad-based permanent tariffs. If they're used as a tool to get other people to come to the table and do deals that are good for America, terrific. But if they're going to be put in place on a long-term basis, the steel tariff, for instance, I do not support a 25% steel tariff on a long-term basis in our country. I think that's counterproductive, and I think it's harmful to our industries here in Utah. And so I'm not someone, I do not believe in tariffs. I don't like tariffs, but I recognize that so far, I can't speak for the mind of the president. He has a mind of his own. But so far, with regards to Canada and Mexico, tariffs were discussed, and the result of the discussions was a new NAFTA agreement, which looks to be a better deal for Utah farmers and for automakers as well and others. So it looks like that's worked out pretty well. Hopefully that'll be the case with the others. I don't want long-term high tariffs.
So did the president do a good thing then in your mind by imposing tariffs?
Well, he did a good thing by getting to a good agreement with Mexico and Canada, and we'll see what happens in the rest of the world. But you know, let's point out that in negotiation, you have to put out a strong hand in some cases to get people to come to the table. But let me make it very clear: I am not a fan of long-term high tariffs. And but understand that they can be used as a negotiating force to cause people to come to the table and work out a more fair deal. Because frankly, China has been taking advantage of us in trade. And the president's absolutely right on that. I think both sides of the aisle agree. And how you get them to the table to renegotiate a deal is a question we can all debate. But he's apparently using tariffs as part of that negotiating strategy.
Agree with the president when you can and disagree with him when you can't. Are you worried that you'll incur his wrath? And if so, what will you do?
You know, I'm old enough and late enough in my political career not to worry about other people's wrath. I'm going to do what I think is right for the people of our state and our country. This is not the beginning of my political career. I'm not looking for the next rung on the ladder. I grabbed for that rung before and it disappeared. So I'm running for U.S. Senate and hope to represent our state in the Senate. But if people come after me and attack me for one thing or the other, as long as you're standing for the things you believe, terrific. I point out. I don't compromise my principles. We can find compromise on policy to see if there are places where we can agree and find common ground. But on principle, you don't compromise. And I don't think the president would expect me to.
If you win, do you feel like you can go into the Senate and, for lack of a better term, be a conscience of the Republican Party. I feel like people are searching for that lately, whether it was the late Senator John McCain, Senator Flake in the SCOTUS hearings. I think there's a lot of Republican senators who are afraid to stand up and speak their mind, even if they feel a certain way. Do you feel like you can go in there and maybe be that conscience that the Republicans are looking for right now to sometimes say things that many others don't dare say?
I don't think anyone can take the place of Senator John McCain, a national hero, and I believe you're right, someone who was able to speak in many settings with the conscience of his conviction. I believe that I will speak my views as well from time to time. I don't think I'll be able to do what John McCain did. I will do my best for the people of our state.
As soon as you come into the Senate as a rookie, though, and you just find your lot of career,
Yeah.
what kind of impact do you see yourself making as a rookie?
Yeah, a junior senator from Utah doesn't have as much clout as Orrin Hatch, who is the senior-most member of the Republican caucus in Washington, D.C. We will miss Senator Hatch. I do believe that having run for president and been the nominee of our party and having campaigned with some 40 different Republican senators over the years, that I will have more access to people who I can work with than perhaps the average junior senator might, and that I'll be able to help Utah perhaps continue to punch a bit above our weight. But I recognize I'm not the president. I'm not the majority leader. I'm not the president pro tem of the Senate. I'm a junior guy who will work with our senior senator, Mike Lee, to do everything I can to help our state and to help our country.
Circling back to what you had said earlier, you're not looking for another run to climb. Are you saying that you're not going to seek any other office down the road, that this is it, Senate's it?
Yes.
You're not going to run for president again?
No, I'm not running for president again. Yeah, I've been there, done that a couple times actually. So we're not doing that again.
Governor, if there were a Supreme Court vacancy in 2020, do you support holding that seat until after the next presidential election?
Sorry, I just can't. It depends on when it came and a number of circumstances. I have a hard time sort of determining that hypothetical. I do believe that you're going to see when this president gets another vacancy, if there's another vacancy, he will nominate another conservative. If you elect a conservative president, he or she will nominate conservatives to the Supreme Court. And the opposition party won't like that, just like Republicans didn't like it when a more liberal president nominated liberals to the Supreme Court. But I hope we can find a process that both parties can come to an agreement on and abide by that process, as opposed to constantly changing the rules, which creates anger on the part of the electorate and a division which I think is unfortunate.
You don't think a standard was set with America?
I'm sure some people would hope so. I think it's something we have to have a discussion about, and both parties to decide exactly where that goes. Thanks, y'all. Good to be with you, and we'll see you again on the trail. By the way, I didn't get the chance to say this, but we have had so far as of tonight. We counted this up. Is this Jess back there counted it up? This is the 378th political event that I've done in this campaign, and the truck now has over 20,000 miles that we've added during the campaign. I've visited every county, all 29 counties, most of them multiple times, met with elected officials in every single county, and have met with thousands upon thousands of Utah voters. This has been, for me, a chance to meet a lot of people in a lot of corners of our state, whether it's from Tremonton down to St. George or Blanding up to Vernal. I have seen the state. I'd seen the Mighty Five as a boy. I mean, you see the national parks, but now I've seen parts of the state I hadn't before, and we live in a beautiful state with an enormous heritage for coming generations. Thanks to you all. Good to be with you.